Okay, let me make this very clear. This is a great saga. It is. It really is. It is a great saga. I'm saying that right up front. But calling it the best of the franchise, that's far-fetched. So, in my opinion, it's great, but overrated. Why? Allow me to explain. What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station, number for everything animation, including 3 Super Saiyans that fight for the fate of the Earth, and welcome to what should have been the final saga of Dragon Ball Z, with the Cell Saga, following right off the heels of the Android Saga. And yes, I know that both of them are kind of in the same saga, but it's such a confusing and long-winded story that I found it better to just split it down the middle. Just like Trunks split Frieza down the middle. So, because of that, I had the whole Android thing being its own whole saga, and now I'm classifying everything from Cell's first appearance to Piccolo, all the way to, the end of the whole overarching story as the Cell Saga. So, unfortunately, I still need to do these in a rapid-fire kind of way because I still have a lot of things to do today. Not to mention, after I'm done all of these videos and done the Final Horizons live stream, I got a little game I gotta try out. Because unfortunately, the version I was going to play and live stream for you guys got delayed till tomorrow. Thanks, Bondi. Okay. I'm done complaining. Let's just dive into this saga. As if the androids weren't already enough of a threat, now the Z-Fighters have to face Jiro's most terrifying creation, an insectoid monster named Cell, who they themselves helped inadvertently create, because it's a monster made from their cells and their DNA. To say that this saga is a fan favorite of the franchise and among the most highly praised of all the sagas of Z is undoubtedly an understatement, and it's not too hard to see why. It's yet another great saga in the series and was originally supposed to be the grand finale of the entire franchise, with Goku passing on the torch to his son Gohan and completing his full character arc, as Gohan now takes his father's place against this new earth-shattering threat, with the stakes higher than they've ever been before up to this point. But that's not to say that Gohan's arc conclusion is the only standout character here, as the other one is surprisingly its big main antagonist, Cell, the first villain in Z, besides Vegeta, that can actually give the almighty Frieza a run for his money. Cell is a great villain who's scary and evil, but also charismatic and composed. Or in a way, as Team 4-Star put it, elegant. Which adds a lot of complexity to his character, not to mention being made of all the cells of all the Z-Fighters except for Future Trunks, because he's from the future. Being able to fire off Kamehamehas and Makanko Suppose, or special beam cannons if you're watching the dub, just as naturally as them without needing any prior training of any kind. Not to mention his design variety, as each of his forms are strikingly unique, and yet also fit into the Z art style perfectly. Yes, his second form is a terrible design, and yes, this whole transformation thing was because of more editorial nonsense that was happening while Akira Toriyama was creating the manga. But it's easy to overlook because of how great both his first form and final form are. His first form having a bit of a horror Twilight Zone aesthetic, and his final form being the iconic one. Not to mention how different he is from the past villains on top of that, seeking a worthy opponent more so than just wanting to destroy the Earth the first chance he got. And because of that, he's also stronger, well, not to mention on top of that, I can't freaking talk today. Not to mention on top of that, because he's actually stronger than full power Super Saiyan Goku. Yes, he's stronger than Goku, and the anime doesn't even try to hide it. Which I appreciate. Add on the sharp writing, great action, one of the best transformations in the entire franchise, the introduction of Super Saiyan 2. Excellent character development, more world building with the introduction of the hyperbolic time chamber, and the reveal that there exists more levels of Super Saiyan that none of the other fighters have ever reached before. Strong suspense and horror, brutal kills, like there's literally one where Cell, first form Cell, literally sucks everything out of a person until they're literally nothing. And it's as horrifying as you think it is. But horrifying as in also really friggin' awesome. A lot of shocking moments that no one will see coming, the conclusion of Goku's character arc especially, which I'm sure shocked a lot of people when it first aired back in the 90s. More fun new characters with not just Cell, but also the hilarious introduction of one of the funniest and most beloved side characters in the entire franchise with Hercule Satan. High rewatchability and a ton of iconic moments, and you have a very strong finale to the original Z. If only it was a finale to the original Z. Unfortunately, though, it suffers from a few issues. The Gohan vs. Cell fight drags out for way too long. I mean, it's not as much as the Goku and Frieza fight dragged, but it's still, dragged out obnoxiously. Even in Kai, it's dragged out. More than a few moments are just overall pointless, even though some of them are pretty funny, like when Goku meets Tao again. Yes, there is a scene of that, and yes, I know it's technically filler, but it's friggin' hilarious. Some characters are pointless and barely have any impact on the story. I'm looking at you, Yamcha. And sadly, while it does a great job capping off pretty much every single character arc and plot point leading up to this point, it's not the actual conclusion of Z, which overall makes the ending feel cheap and pointless. That's its biggest sin. And it's not even the saga's fault, because it was supposed to be the finale. It was supposed to be the big grand conclusion of the entire franchise up to this point. But because of its popularity, and apparently because it was just in such high demand, they had to go and make another saga, which makes this ending feel cheap. And it's a bummer, because it's a great ending. Overall, though, despite those flaws, this is an amazing saga in the franchise, and does a fantastic job capping off Gohan's character development from a timid young boy into a mighty warrior carrying on his father's legacy. A bit overrated in my personal opinion, but still more than deserving of its endless high praise from the fans. It's still a great saga. I don't want you guys to think I'm crapping on it or anything. I just don't think it's the best of the entire series, especially when the Namek Saga, the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, and the Saiyan Saga all already exist. So, yeah. Not to mention the sagas from Super. So, yeah. This is still an amazing saga. Final Verdict is still easy, high, 9 out of 10. But, I mean, I just don't understand the people that are able to call it, the greatest saga in the entire franchise. I mean, yes, it has 3 Super Saiyans, yes, the fights are great, yes, it's still a great saga by itself, but you also have to take into the account that it's not the actual ending of the franchise, of this era of the franchise. It's not the actual ending of Z. You need to look at it through that lens before you try looking at it through a different lens. And unfortunately, the next arc is a bit of an absolute mess, so yeah. Unfortunately, this should have been the end of Z, because the ending it got was actually pretty damn lousy. We'll talk about it all later, but for now, thanks for watching. I'm Jack Small of Animation Station. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time when we finish off the recap Saul reviews with Spiral.